Morning. My name is Bill Moyer, and I'm from Vashon Island, Washington, and I'm part of a team called the Solutionary Rail Project. Interestingly, only 3.5% of the value of freight in the U.S. moves on trains. Berkshire Hathaway is incredibly well positioned with its investments in the Northern and Southern Transcon through BNSF to grab far more of that freight traffic off of the roads and get diesel out of our communities, as well as harness transmission corridors for your Berkshire renewable energy assets, for which you're obviously very proud. Would you consider meeting with us to look at a proposal for utilizing your assets and leveraging a public-private partnership to electrify your railroads and open those corridors for a renewable energy future?
No, we've examined a lot of things in terms of LNG. I mean, obviously we want to become more energy efficient as well as just generally efficient. And I'm not sure about the value of freight. You mentioned 3.5%. I believe, I'm not sure what figure you're using as the denominator there, because if you look at movement of traffic by ton miles, rails are around 40% of the U.S. We're not talking local deliveries or all kinds of things like of that, but they're 40% roughly by rail. And BNSF moves more ton miles than any other entity. We move 15% plus of all the 10 miles moved in the United States. But if you take trucking, for example, on intermodal freight, we're extremely competitive on the longer hauls, but the shorter the haul, the more likely it is that the flexibility of freight, where a truck can go any place, and we have rails. So the equation changes depending on distance hauled and other factors, but distance hauled is a huge factor. We can move a ton mile with 500. We can move 500 plus ton miles of freight for 1 gallon of diesel, and that is far more efficient than trucks. So the long haul traffic and the heavy traffic is going to go to the rails, and we try to improve our part of the equation on that all the time. But if you're going to transport something 10 or 20 or 30 miles between a shipper and a receiver, and you're not going to move that by rail. So we look at things all the time. I can assure you, Carl Ice is well, he's probably here now, and he'll be in the other room. And he's running the railroad. You're free to talk to him, but I don't see any breakthrough like you're talking about. I do see us getting more efficient year by year by year, and obviously if trucks, driverless trucks become part of the equation, that moves things toward trucking. But on long haul heavy stuff, and there's a lot of it, you're looking at the railroad that carries more than any other mode of transportation, and BNSF is the leader. Charlie?
Well, over the long term, our questioner is on the side of the angels. Sooner or later, we'll have it more electrified. I think Greg will decide when it happens.
Yeah, but we're all working on the technology, and we're considerably more efficient than 10, 20, 30 years ago, if you look at the numbers. But one interesting figure, I think right after World War II, when the country probably had about 140 million people against our 330 million now. So we had 40% of the population. We had over 1.5 million people employed in the railroad industry. Now there's less than 200,000, and we're carrying a whole lot more freight. Now there's some change in passengers, but the efficiency of the railroads compared to, and the safety compared to what it was even immediately after World War II, has improved dramatically.